What's going on, everybody? Bulldog Gaming here, back in the channel. Welcome back to the channel. I do apologize about the bugs on the windshield. Yes, I am starting my day at the Petro in Joplin. Creeping because there's people walking and vehicles moving. Indian River dropped its trailer for no reason. Again. What is this fool doing? This is why you drive slow through the truck stop parking lot.
Puppy monkey baby.
Okay. Oh, it's a beautiful sunshiny day here in Missouri, or as I like to call it, misery. Because every time I come here, my allergies act up. No matter what I do, well, I can't say no matter what I do. I take an allergen med when I have it. Love red lights. Turn the old squawk box on. Grab me a drink of coffee so I'm not sneezing, coughing, and hacking. Good coffee. Good coffee. Hot coffee. So we're on our way to go get unloaded and loaded at the same location here in Missouri. And I want to apologize. I uploaded the video last night, and I forgot to put the links in the description. So while I'm getting loaded, hopefully I can figure out how to edit the description and put those in. If not, there'll be the link. The links will be in the description of this video and any mobile upload that I do from here on out for the Teespring store and for my other store. So I do apologize. If you were looking for those in the description, I was tired when I uploaded it. I was trying to eat dinner at the Petro in Oklahoma City and wasn't able to upload it. So it's going to be a little short vlog video. One thing that I would blink there, Chaser, you got it when you want it. Come on, Chaser Transport, get the heck over. I even slowed down for you. One thing that I wanted to bring up, safety-wise, is one thing that I just mentioned, is when you're going through a parking lot, whether it be Walmart's parking lot, Kroger, H-E-B, Hy-Vee, whatever place you're at, a truck stop, convenience store, whatever, and you see a lot of vehicles moving, a lot of people moving, go slower than you normally would. Go slow, period. Because you never know. You never know. Somebody's gonna pop out. Somebody's not paying attention. They're putting, they're getting their seatbelt on. They're lighting a cigarette. They're taking a drink, and they just pop out of a parking spot. Or they, they're looking down at their phone, walking across the park. They're not going to pay attention. You need to pay attention to them. Good rule of thumb is, in a parking lot, a lot of places that I go, with the exception of truck stops, they have posted speed limits. 5 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour, it all depends. But most places there's not a parking. There is not a speed limit in a parking in most parking lots. So a good rule of thumb is walk or drive a walking pace. If you can walk next to your car moving and stay at or in front of the vehicle, that is the speed that you need to go through these parking lots. That also gives you ample time to stop in case somebody pops out, walks out in front of you, and it's safe for the pedestrians and other motoring public that is in the same location, the same vicinity as you. You know, drive for yourself. Don't drive for other people. Don't let other people drive you. You need to drive your vehicle, but safely. And that's why I throw out these suggestions every now and then on how to handle certain situations. There's new up-and-coming drivers that, you know, they don't know the rules of thumb yet. You know, my son, Big D Gaming, he doesn't know every single aspect of driving yet. Though me and Widge have taught him most everything he needs to know to drive to get his license. A lot of the driving part comes with experience. we can talk until we're blue in the face about every situation, every aspect of driving, and it's not going to sink in until they experience it for themselves. One of my experiences growing up, being a new driver, when I first got my driver's license, was driving on snow and ice. My dad had told me several times how to drive on ice, how to maneuver, and what to expect on black ice. And he told me until I experienced it. It didn't sink in. Did I destroy a vehicle? Didn't destroy it. Baked it up pretty good. Was I mad that I had wrecked the car I was buying? Oh yeah. I had a 1982 Grand Prix. It was a dark blue, kind of like a little bit darker than the blue that on this Melton truck I'm coming up on. It was actually it was a very well-known color, or a very sought-after color for Pontiacs in the 80s, in the early 80s. And I had my favorite color, which is blue. Any shade of blue, I adore. I don't know why, I always have. I've always loved blue. And as you can tell by a lot of things that I do. So, blue, it was a dark blue. So, I was on my way out to where my dad was in western Kansas. He needed something for the truck. I was available. I wanted a road trip. One thing, of course, we didn't have cell phones back then that, per se. There were cell phones, but there wasn't cell phones like what we have nowadays, like what I'm recording this video on. There was big old bag phones and stuff like that. We couldn't afford anything like that. So, he didn't tell me when I talked to him on the phone early on in that day that I would experience winter driving, because I hadn't experienced it yet. I had drove since my birthday in fair weather, and I started going out to western Kansas, southwest Kansas, where he was, because he needed this part, and into a little bit of snow. Okay, no problem. I could handle it. I was okay. It was just wet, slushy snow. I drove slow. The farther west I go, the colder it got. And it wound up being cold enough that the road flash froze, causing black ice. Well, I was looking for the signs. It was coming on sunset, and I wasn't able to see the shining of my headlights off of the black ice. And I wasn't going very fast. I was going about 45 miles an hour because the snow was just there. Oh my God, it was just a blanket of snow all at once. And I felt the rear end slip out from underneath me. Well, it was already too late. When it started doing that catawampus to the left, I was on my way down into a ditch. I hit a telephone pole, but as I was going down the ravine, down in this ditch, I was able to get my car slowed enough that the damage was minimum. My right front fender, my right front fender, my right headlight, and my passenger side door took the biggest share of the damage. I didn't tweak the frame. I didn't do anything to the tire. I still had my bright headlight. I didn't have my outside right headlight. So evidently there was a highway patrolman that had seen what had happened, seen that I went off the road, and he stopped up at the top of this deep ditch. I call it a ravine because of how deep it was. And he seen that I went off the road, so he stopped to render aid. And he goes, "Well, it looks drivable. There's no, I'm just shaking in my boots, trying to understand what happened and why what happened. I was scared to death. Of course, he couldn't get a hold of my dad. I couldn't get a hold of my dad because lack of cell phones. He got on the he got on his two-way communicator because I knew about the location he was. I was going to meet him in this little town called Ulysses, Kansas, and give him what he needed for the truck. And I was actually only about 25 miles outside of Ulysses. So, cop radioed to the dispatch. Dispatch relayed the message to the county and to the city PD. And they went and located my dad, let him know that I had been in an accident. Well, that freaked my dad out because he didn't know what kind of accident. All he knew, I wasn't injured, and that I had been in a weather-related accident. So, with the help of the state trooper, and back then they had those old Ford Explorers. No, he was actually in a Ford Bronco. There was an old Ford Bronco that he was in. Southwest Kansas was about the only ones that had those because of the winter weather. They needed something that was going to be good, have four-wheel drive and all that. So he hooked up a tow rope, a length of tow rope, to pull me up out of the ditch. I was able to drive away from the pole and then angle towards where he was to get to a certain point, because he was ready to pull me out if I would not have been able to drive up out of there on my own accord. And I was able to drive up. I got on the dry pavement, which was literally 5 feet past where I went off the road. So he had the tow rope ready just in case. We looked over the car. He radioed, car's drivable, but it has heavy damage. Okay, no problem. I drove. He led me to where my dad was actually parked. My dad was parked at big old hugs. Said he was glad to see that I was okay. Sorry about my car, and we would be able to fix it. We would just have to find parts. Had to claim it on insurance. The insurance rate went up because I was under 18. I was 16 years old, and all this. But he understood. I was inexperienced and I had to experience it. So he didn't tell me, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. He said, I'm glad you're okay. Sorry about your car, but it's fixable. So another friend of his was actually in the area, and he had a step deck, lowboy, the heavy haul lowboy, and he didn't have a load. So we loaded my car up on my dad's friend's trailer, got it all secure, got it all strapped down, so I didn't have to drive all the way back home in case the inclement weather was, pushed on towards the house. I didn't have to drive in it. I could ride in the truck with my dad. I could get some sleep. I could quit freaking out, and life would be good for me. So, long story short, we get the car home, and this dude sped up, so I'm going to get right back behind him because I don't want to hold up the car that's speeding. We get back to the house, and the neighbor down the street, of course it was a cow path street where we lived because we lived out in the country, had another 82 Grand Prix, identical to the one that I had, except for it was maroon, or Cayenne as we call it now. So my dad bought the car. We waited until a warm day, which surprisingly for November, that's when it happened. November I was 16. We took the front clip off of the car, the hood off the car, and we put it to the side, and we took the front end off of the car that my dad bought that had rear end damage, and we put it on my car that was running. So I got into with my kids I grew up with, kids I went to school with, their dad owned a body shop. So we went over, we took both cars over, and we utilized my friend's father's body shop, and we put the car back together, under the guidance. It was just me and my buddy. We put my car back together, we got it back up and running. We actually lifted, we did a frame lift because my car sat 4 inches off the ground. We didn't do a frame lift, we did a bag lift, where I had air ride suspension because the other Grand Prix had air ride suspension. It was more luxurious. So we took the airbag suspension off it and put it on my car to where I could raise and lower my suspension and make it a more comfortable ride and get a little bit higher up off the ground. So all in all, short story, or long story made short, I rebuilt my very first car after experiencing black ice. Now, had I not experienced that, I would have never learned from it. I learned more ways to tell that there was black ice. And I also learned a lot about vehicles and how they're put together and how they're manufactured. I learned body work, learned how to paint a vehicle, properly to get in, get out. A whole slew of things that I learned from one minor accident. I also learned that no matter how important a situation is, take your time doing it because the results will be better. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't taking my time, but it was a learning experience to learn that I needed to take more time in the adverse weather, because had I had been a little bit slower, I would have been able to drive out of my skid that I went into when my back end broke free on the black ice. I almost called it dry ice, but the black ice. Also, I learned that it helps when you include friends in your situation to include them in your moments of being down at a low point as well as being at a high point. So a lot of life lessons learned, a lot of mechanical lessons learned, and a lot of driving lessons learned. So I hope this little video that I just did helps you out understanding something that's going on in your life. I want to welcome all new subscribers. If you are new to my channel, this is the first video you've seen, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more, hit the bell notification. There's 3 options for the bell notifications. You can get all notifications. You can customize notifications, or you can get minimal notifications. Also, like I said, in the description of this video, and I'm going to try to figure out how to edit the other description to where I can add in the link to my 2 fan club stores. Go get you some merch. It's going to help out the channel. It's going to help out law enforcement, canine law enforcement. It's also going to go to a donation for some other law enforcement subsidiaries to help law enforcement out, fallen heroes, stuff like that. And that's on the Back to Blue. Anything that has to do with Back to Blue, whether it be the actual one that says Back to Blue, I See You, I Got Your 6, or my other one over on my other store, which you have to go check it out. You have to go check out the design, because it's actually going to wind up being a trailer design in American Truck Simulator. If you haven't had a chance yet, go check out Risky Clay's YouTube page. Go check out his latest American Truck Simulator upload. My latest concoction of a paint scheme I did for Risky. It is up there on his latest video. There is some tweaking that needs to be done, maybe some color changing that needs to be done. But I found out a few things just by watching the video. And everybody's slamming on the brakes. Coming into the first construction zone, everybody wants to go slow. I've talked about construction zones in the past. I've told you my experiences from the past of being in construction zones. We get impatient. You get impatient. Don't be impatient. It is what it is. Somebody's not experienced enough to drive through an area like this, or they just want to be very safe and cautious, which is sometimes too much, because then it causes issues behind them. That's why there's posted speed limits and posted suggested speed limits for going through curves. Some people listen, some people don't. I don't know why he has his turn signal on. But I'm going to end it right there. Well, I'm going to end it here in just a second, after I am not worried about the construction zone and I don't have to shift gears. We will catch you guys on the flip. Safe travels, y'all, and we will see you next time.